Coming up on CPTV. CPHS hopes to still host their in-person graduation ceremony. Local businesses do their best to help the community. And members of the community find different ways to gather during social distancing. CPTV is up next.
Stand by. Countdown in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hi, I'm Sarah Frey.
And I'm Zach Jones.
Welcome to CPTV. Kirsten Robinson will have your 5-day weather forecast, and Ramsey Harkness will bring us sports highlights.
Here's what's happening at Crown Point High School. While the topic of e-learning has come up many times in the past few years, we are now close to finishing our first ever online curriculum. While the switch offers new opportunities for students and teachers at home, the effectiveness of this schooling is still being questioned by many. CPTV's Jenna Milosh got in contact at a safe distance with a couple of students to hear their opinion.
Due to the current climate of the world today, millions of high schools are making the switch from face-to-face learning to online centralized curriculums, or as many people know it, e-learning. Although many do not have any other choice, the question is still raised on whether or not this method is as substantial as its predecessor. Some people argue that students may find it difficult to learn behind a screen, some going as far as starting petitions for grades during this period of time to be nullified. So what is the truth behind the effectiveness of e-learning?
E-learning hasn't been really effective for me because I find myself sitting down at my desk, not to learn the information that the teachers are providing me, but more just to get the assignments done so I can do other fun things around my house. And that also makes the big tests and like other assessments and quizzes that come up more difficult for me because I have to teach myself the information before the quiz because I didn't learn it when I was doing the assignments. And my sister's home from college, and they're already on summer vacation, so I get to see her doing fun things around the house while I have to sit at my desk to do the assignments that the teachers are giving me, which is very difficult. And AP testing was last week, so I had to mentally recheck in for that because I had to reteach myself all of the information from the whole school year that we had learned, which was very difficult for me.
Well, some research shows that on average, students retain 25 to 60% more information when online learning compared to that of only 8 to 10% in a classroom. And based on the research of Dr. Nugent at Vanderbilt University, 92% of all distance and online learning studies show that online learning is at least as effective, if not better, than traditional learning. But this does not account for the negatives that come with the fully online curriculum that may include a lack of determination, low retention rates, and a decrease in mental health due to a lack of social interaction.
So even though I'm in a lot of advanced classes, I don't think that the e-learning has really changed the way that I learn. I just think it's harder to get a response immediately like I would in a classroom. I just have to wait a few hours for an email or remind back, and it kind of interrupts the flow of my learning. So I only usually spend 2 to 3 hours on Buzz as opposed to a lot more in school, which kind of helps me do things a little bit more efficiently than if I was in school. I feel like it's easier for me to get through the things that I think are easier, and it helps me have a little bit more time to focus on the things that I find more difficult.
All in all, although we cannot control the fate of our schooling, e-learning will have to suffice as an alternative method to classroom learning as a whole. For CPTV, I'm Jenna Milosh.
As coronavirus continues to affect community gatherings, many schools are looking at alternative forms of commencements. CPHS hopes to host an in-person graduation June 21st while taking the necessary precautions and limitations. Even if the in-person commencement gets canceled, administration has a plan to host a virtual commencement. Here's CPTV's Rocco Jan with more info.
As the global coronavirus pandemic continues to evolve, many students are investigating new ways to hold virtual and real-life commencements for the class of 2020. Many students and faculty are concerned over the implications that this might hold.
I am pretty optimistic about the current state of graduation. I think that the idea of us having a possible in-person graduation in July is very promising, and it allows us seniors to have just that final goodbye with our teachers and students that an in-person graduation would provide. And not having one not that it would leave us feeling empty, but it is an essential part of a high school and K through 12 education that has been taken away from us. So to be able to have it in any way possible is really reassuring, and I commend Crown Point High School and our school district for trying to make a graduation possible for us in any way.
Graduation ceremonies have been taking several altered forms across various parts of the country. For example, in California, many school districts have opted to flat out cancel an in-person graduation for the class of 2020, while other schools in Texas have remained optimistic about ceremonies that would only have to be delayed or held in addition to virtual commencements. As for Crown Point, the school board has held virtual commencements for some end-of-year events, but has firmly stated that they will do everything possible to hold an in-person graduation at a tentative date of July 21st, while reasonably having a backup virtual commencement plan scheduled for release over the summer.
The ceremony itself would probably be somewhat reduced from what we typically see, not only because of the pandemic situation, but also because we'd be holding it in late July, and the temperature of the evening could come into play when you think about how hot it could be on that night, and you'd want to kind of reduce that time that people are spending in that heat. Finally, some of the other things that we're thinking about, potentially reducing the actual size of the crowd, maybe limiting the tickets for every graduate just to possibly to immediate family members to come. So these are a lot of things that are in consideration as we talk about a modified ceremony for our seniors and their families. Again, we are working really closely with the Lake County Health Department to make sure that we can abide by what's being recommended to keep everybody safe. We also are in a lot of communication with our other local high schools as we can share ideas on how to do this a safe and enjoyable way for all our families. But the main objective is somehow to honor our seniors and their families by trying to hold on to that in-person ceremony, because we know it's so important and special for all our families.
Safe to say, most CPHS seniors are still hopeful to hold the real-life graduation on July 21st and receive their own prestigious Crown Point diplomas on the stage. As for right now, only time will tell. For CPTV, I'm Rocco Jan.
To stop the spread of the coronavirus while still honoring senior achievements, CPHS has moved all of the spring ceremonies online. Here with more is CPTV's Brianna Morton.
Normally, the football field is being prepped for graduation for students to walk across the stage. However, due to COVID-19, it has caused schools all across the nation to have to find different ways to do these student activities. This has caused seniors uncertainty because they don't know if they'll be able to celebrate the last 4 years with their peers.
I really wish that I would have been able to finish out the last couple months the way that I had envisioned it. I feel like I worked really, really hard, and I felt like second semester I had a lot of things lined up that I could just relax and really, really take the time to enjoy the last few moments. And yeah, it was taken away, and it's really sad and difficult to deal with, but I know that better things will come and that everything happens for a reason.
For most of the seniors, you have them from freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, senior year. Some you get as juniors, sophomores, at some point in there. And I feel like this is supposed to be like the end, and you're supposed to get to say goodbye, and you're supposed to get to celebrate these moments with the seniors, and to not get that it's upsetting. It upsets me as the counselor. I want to be able to see you guys walk across the stage. I want to be able to see you guys in the caps and gowns all together and throwing the caps, and I want to see that too. It's upsetting to me because I feel like there's no closure to it, really. I think that it's still just kind of like, and you're done, that's all. So but I'm hopeful we might get to do an in-person ceremony at some point, but that'll just depend on the government and what they decide to do.
It sure is sad to see some of these events being canceled. However, we have hope for the future. For CPTV, I'm Brianna Morton.
We are finally having some much-needed summer weather this week.
Here's Kirsten Robinson with your 5-day weather forecast.
Yes, we are stuck in the house, but that doesn't mean you can't get out of the house. for a socially distanced trip outside, or maybe even in your backyard to enjoy this weather. But if you were to do that, I'd expect today be your day, as there is a lot of rain forecasted. Right about now, across Crown Point, it's 73 degrees with sunny skies throughout the day. Temperatures dropping to around 57 tonight. Looking at your 5-day forecast, tomorrow the high will be near 80 degrees, but there will be a chance of some rain showers in the afternoon. As a matter of fact, we're going to see those afternoon showers all weekend. Sunday will be 85 degrees. Both those afternoon showers are forecasted, along with the low being at 65. As we head back into the week, we are going to see those temperatures in the 80s in that afternoon rain. Monday is Memorial Day, but there is a chance of some showers with the high around 82 and the low at 62. On Tuesday, the temperature will drop just slightly to 81 degrees with the low around 60. On Wednesday, as we head back, expect the high to be 79 degrees and the low at 66. For the final time, that's your 5-day forecast. Have a great summer, everyone. Back to Sarah.
Thanks, Kirsten. As you may remember, the owner of Indiana Beach filed for bankruptcy and was set to close the park this year. However, a new owner stepped up to keep the amusement park open for more people to enjoy. Here with more details is CPTV's Sebastian Zenowitz.
Back in February of this year, Indiana Beach Amusement Park Resort down in Monticello, Indiana, made official plans to permanently stay closed forever. But now, a new buyer has officially purchased the park and is planning to reopen Indiana Beach very, very soon. But with coronavirus still causing difficult and challenging times, many Indiana Beach fans are only left with a few questions. What will stay the same at the park? What will be different? And when exactly will the park be reopened? News has officially hit new employees who are willing to work for Indiana Beach, and even former employees who are possibly willing to make a return.
Back in 1978 is when I first had my first taste of Indiana Beach, and I've loved it ever since. I've been bitten by the love bug of Indiana Beach over the years, and since then, when I came back and moved full time to the Monticello area, I had a lot of interaction with the owners of Indiana Beach, the Spackman family, back in the day. And it was a great park. It still is a great park, and it's going to be a great park again. So then I worked later, back in 2014, I came back to Indiana Beach as their vice president of marketing. So again, I've had a long affair with Indiana Beach, and love to see it continue to succeed. But 40 years, that's a long time to be in love with something like that.
Gene Staples, the brand new owner of Indiana Beach Amusement Park Resort, now expects the park to be open either this summer or next summer, depending on when the coronavirus will slow down to a point so he can properly maintain and open up the park. Obviously, Indiana Beach fans down in Monticello, Indiana, remain excited but are staying as safe as possible so that the park can reopen. But what about here in Crown Point? Are people just as excited?
The news of Indiana Beach reopening, I almost got a little teary-eyed because it means so much to me. Now that my grandparents are passed away, it just means a little bit more, and I was very upset when I heard the closing of it, but then the reopening of it, just like my heart was full again, just very excited, very happy. Just thought of all the stuff that I will be doing when I go there. And I called everybody in my family, of course, because everybody in my family loved Indiana Beach. Is not as much as me, but just as much, and so I had to call everybody in my family and tell them about the reopening. So yeah, I was very excited.
So, if you're an Indiana Beach fan like myself, stay tuned for the grand reopening of Indiana Beach Amusement Park Resort down in Monticello, Indiana, coming this summer or summer of 2021. There's more than corn in Indiana indeed. Isn't that right, IB Crow? For CPTV, I'm Sebastian Zenowitz.
The kids of today are being named pretty creatively, as celebrities like Elon Musk have shown us that names don't have to just contain letters or be traditional. Here's CPTV's Madeline Massey with more.
Unusual baby names have become a trend in America for the past couple of years. With Elon Musk naming his kid XAEA12, it's kind of got some of us thinking. So we got in touch with a name expert, and we even asked some kids at Crown Point High School what they think.
think for the most part, I think Elon Musk may be a different case since he's a different sort of celebrity, as an inventor, more than a entertainment figure. But I think he's more. I think he's probably one of the few who is doing it mainly for self-promotion, and to get the publicity. But I think a lot of the entertainers who do it aren't deliberately doing it for the publicity. I think they just see themselves as being in a creative profession as creative people, and so want to give their kids creative names, as part of their own, self-concept as creative people.
I don't believe that actors are doing that for publicity stunts or anything like that. I feel like they're just doing it because they want to have their own mark on the road or something like that, because they're just trying to make their own name and they're famous for something at least, so they want to have their kid be known, hey, this is my kid, he's special.
Even though we don't plan to name our kids XAEA12, hopefully his life is as interesting as his name. For CPTV, I'm Madeline Massey.
Spring sports have been canceled here at the high school and professionally for over 75 days, and many wonder when they will return and what they will look like. Here's CPTV's Ramsey Harkness with your CP Sports Update.
With all spring sports being canceled this year, many people have been wondering what sports next school year will look like, or if they will even happen. There are no answers as of right now, but the IHSAA has allowed sports to begin practicing again on July 1st. Here's CPTV's Blake Pesh with more.
Across the state of Indiana, students and parents alike have been wondering about the future of sports. Whether it be fall, winter, or spring, many are unsure if sports will even be played next year. I had a chance to chat with CP Athletic Director Bill DeRula and get his opinions on not only Indiana sports, but Crown Point sports as a whole next year. I also got to get his opinions on the July 1st opening of practice facilities.
Planning, to have fall sports. We do get to come back July 1. We don't know exactly what that's going to look like. Are we going to allow everybody to come in? Are we going to allow basketball to have open gyms and the swim club to come in and swim, and 100 kids to start football all at once? We just don't know that yet. There's a lot of debates and collaboration between ADs as to how this is going to happen.
When talking with Mr. DeRula, one of the main topics of conversation was Crown Point football. He's not sure if fans will even be able to come to the games next year, and he made it very clear that Crown Point isn't calling any shots. He made it clear that Governor Holcomb is calling all the shots about sports next year.
All depends, what the governor says when that date arrives. The Open Indiana plan, I don't know if you've seen it, but by the beginning of July, everything's open, but it doesn't indicate that schools are. The DOE, the superintendent, Jennifer McCormick, has indicated that schools would not be open this summer. At this point, I'm not going to say if we're going to have football or not, or I don't know exactly how many fans we're going to be allowed to put in the stadium, or maybe we won't be able to play in front of any fans. I think the NFL's made that announcement already. They're going to play with no fans.
In reference to workouts opening up on July 1st, he also wanted to make it very clear that if anyone at your house is sick, and if you feel sick at all, please do not come to the workouts.
It's going to spread eventually anyway. I think, though, when we come back, what we have to be careful with is with our student athletes. They need to understand if they have a parent at home that might have a condition and they can possibly affect that parent, they might be able to come to these workouts. Or if they do, they may have to stay somewhere else. You have to have common sense with this.
There's no way to predict the future, but student athletes like myself, parents, and fans all across the globe are hoping that sports are able to be played next year. For CPTV, I'm Blake Pesh.
It's been 79 days since the NBA and NHL seasons ground to a halt as Utah Jazz All-Star Rudy Gobert tested positive for the coronavirus. The MLB's regular season was set to start March 26th. Instead, the league shut down spring training just 2 weeks before that date, pushing its opening day indefinitely into the future. The biggest question is, when will sports safely return to the United States? With more details, here's CPTV's Harry Smith.
Major League Baseball is reportedly exploring the possibility of opening up a shortened season in late June or early July. Officials are optimistic that they can use an 80 or 100 game schedule that would move the World Series into late November or early December. The league had been looking into playing at spring training sites in Arizona, but is now eyeing games in up to 20-team markets, though many questions remain about the travel and opening up the ballparks. The NBA Commissioner Adam Silver reportedly told teams he is focused on crowning a champion for this season, which was paused about a month before its end. Fuel was added to that fire when Silver announced that the upcoming draft lottery and the combine were being postponed. The league initially was set to allow individual workouts at the team facilities, where that didn't conflict the local restrictions, amid confusion and backlash to that announcement. The NBA pushed that date back 1 week, so who knows what will happen. The NHL announced this week that the players could be able to resume small group activities at training facilities by the end of May. Teams like the Sharks, who are located in an area under restrictions, likely cannot do so. The NHL is looking into bringing teams to divisional sites to train and potentially finish the season and playoffs. Sharks forward Evander Kane said on a podcast earlier this week that he has heard optimism that the league may be able to resume in July or August. The National Football League hosted its biggest offseason event just a few weeks back, as teams executed the league draft with all involved parties working from home. No 2020 games have been rescheduled at this point, as the Hall of Fame game, the NFL's first preseason game, is scheduled for August 6th. The first regular season game is set to open on September 10th. Off-season workouts are on hold for the time being. Team training camps are set to begin in July, and the league has not yet announced any changes to that plan. For CPTV, I'm Harry Smith.
Student athletes at CPHS planning on participating in spring sports this year were disappointed to hear that their seasons would be canceled due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Here's CPTV's Nick Shallon with more.
The coronavirus has really affected spring athletes, especially seniors, and what could have been a make or break year to determine a college spot. Here's senior Gene Klorick with more on his first reactions to the season being canceled.
That's a tough question right now with everything going on, and things are slowly starting to reopen. So there's a few places that I'm still able to go, get reps in, be able to throw, hit, position, lift. But not playing a game. I haven't played any games since October, so that's really tough because playing a game is a different feel than any off-season training that you can go through, and not to have those game repetitions for what was supposed to be the past 2.5 months now, really puts you behind the 8 ball.
Although athletes are upset of the season being canceled, that won't stop them from training to prepare for next season. Here's junior Carson Redding on how he prepares for next season despite staying at home.
Catch with my brother. And since a lot of facilities are closed, it's hard to get a lot of practice in.
After 23 years of coaching track and field, head coach Keith Eddings has decided to hang up the stopwatch and will hand over the reins to someone new next spring. Here with more, CPTV's Olivia Bianco.
For 1981 CPHS graduate Keith Eddings, the last 23 years of his life have revolved around a stopwatch. Eddings has coached the boys cross-country team for 23 years and the track and field team for 16. During his tenure, he led the Bulldogs to 6 sectional titles in track, including 3 straight from 2013 to 2015. But he was most successful in cross-country, winning 14 sectional crowns, 7 regional titles, and the first semi-state championship since 1981 this previous season. But after 23 years, Eddings will hang up the stopwatch and hand over the reins to someone new.
I'm looking at, what can I do to get to spend time with my grandkids and with my children. And I realized that with all these years of coaching, you're never off. With a commitment that if you're going to be the coach, then you need to be the coach. You need to be there. You need to be consistent. You need to be dependable. You need the kids to be able to rely on you. Well, to do that, that meant that I wasn't going to be able to be there, go see my grandkids. I needed to feel like that they were going to be in good hands. And Coach Forehand is phenomenal. His compassion and his love for those kids is just tremendous. He's willing to do all the work that's necessary to help them to achieve to their potential. He recognizes that it's more than just about coaching the sport, that it's about developing young men. I'm blessed with kids who have parents that allowed me to be a part of their son's development, and hopefully I was a positive influence. Hope that they remember that, they're the future, that they have an opportunity to be a positive impact on their families and their communities. I hope that they learn through athletics that hard work results in positive outcomes. And if you want to win victories in life after high school, well, then you have to work hard. You have to put yourself in a position to be successful. It's been a phenomenal blessing to get to work with those kids. It's just amazing. In Crown Point, we're blessed with phenomenal kids with phenomenal families who are very supportive and encouraging for their kids. And it's a great environment to coach in. I highly recommend it for anyone who's interested.
While we still don't know who will lead the Bulldogs on the track, Athletic Director Bill DeRullo promises to find a new boys track and field coach by the start of the upcoming school year. For CPTV Sports, I'm Olivia Bianco.
And that's it for sports.
On May 1st, Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb announced a 5-stage plan to reopen Indiana. However, medical professionals are questioning the safety and effectiveness of the new plan. Here with more is CPTV's Armando Bracco.
A few weeks ago, when Governor Holcomb announced his plan to reopen the state of Indiana, many questions were asked by the people of Indiana on whether or not the state was moving too fast or too slow, and whether or not we should really stay in quarantine for a little while longer.
I was hoping he would look at our state in regards to counties. So I was pleased to hear that we, being with Marion and then the other county that had the meat processing, that our 3 counties were delayed in our initial phase increase. So I liked his approach. I liked that county approach. I liked how he spelled out the parameters that he was using.
Well, I think it's a pretty good plan he has in place for where we're at right now. I think it leaves a lot of room for to react to however the reopening goes. So I like the fact that he's put in the counties that have a little bit more cases, have had a little more problem with the virus, opening them up a little more slowly, and kind of the step-by-step process he's doing it leaves you time to evaluate what's happening while you're opening it up, and you can always go back and shut things back down if things are getting a little bit worse.
Unfortunately for the state of Indiana, we will not be able to tell if we've been moving too fast or too slow until the situation itself is over. But this does seem to be a recurring theme with this pandemic, as we have many questions that do remain unanswered. For CPTV, I'm Armando Bracco.
Many parents are struggling to find ways to entertain their kids and themselves while at home, but 2 sisters found a way to get them all moving with a driveway dance class.
We're going to be doing a dance class today.
Now you're going to get down on one knee.
2, 3, 4, together and you. We are doing a little dance class. We invited our neighbor girls over to just get them outside and get their bodies moving while still staying a good distance apart, because now it's nice enough to go outside.
For the younger kids, it's easier to just do some short, easy moves and things that they can follow along with instead of having to learn a big, long routine. So we did some short, fun activities to warm up and then learned a song to Frozen 2, which every little kid knows right now.
As a dance instructor, it's been really tough for the past few weeks not being able to teach with kids in person, so we decided it would be a fun idea to get all these other kids together and give them a chance to get outside and give parents a break for a little bit.
5, 6, 7, 8.
It's a good distraction because I'm not sitting on my phone or watching TV and watching the news all the time, and it's fun to have the little girls around and have some fun. Well, it's so nice outside.
And the clouds are moving on with every autumn. Some days you have to change.
Many local businesses have completely closed during this pandemic. However, the owner of Cafe Fresco, Brienne Zolfo, used this time to give back to the community through a food and hygiene pantry. Zach was able to contact those involved to learn more.
On the west side of the square, the walls of the Cafe Fresco are lined with tables filled with food and supplies. As coronavirus sweeps through the nation, closing schools and businesses, owner Brienne Zolfel knew that hosting a food and hygiene pantry would be a great way to help her community.
The food and hygiene pantry is free to anyone in the community that needs it. It doesn't have to be necessarily Crown Point. It could be anywhere in the region. Anyone who needs any of these products can come and take it. So 4 months ago, we started the food and hygiene pantries in the schools. We started it in Wheeler, Taft, and Timothy Ball, just as a way to help out kids who couldn't afford it or were struggling. And once the schools closed, then we moved it into the cafe.
I just think it's awesome that people can come and get what they need. The grocery stores are, they're packed right now, and a lot of people don't have the funds that they would normally get. So I just think it's a great resource for the community to be able to come in here and grab a little something and not feel, any stigma or anything. We donated some toilet paper recently, and I love putting money in the community love jar so that these resources are available.
Some believe that the community could be doing more.
I think there's not enough of this in the community, and I also think it's so beautiful, all the different signs and just the way that the community is coming together in a time where we need to be separated. I think just whatever businesses can do to help each other and help the community is just great.
The food pantry and the hygiene closet is easy because people can just come in and grab whatever they need. And so every day we're open 9 to 2 for coffee or food and hygiene products.
This food and hygiene pantry is a great way to give back to the community. Donations will be accepted anytime from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. For CPTV, I'm Zach Jones.
Sometimes it takes a lot of tries to get the right shot. Since this is the last show of the school year, we wanted to give you a behind-the-scenes look of what really happens in front of the camera.
Pull up to out and see.
Resource period was first introduced as a way to for students. Oh my God.
A new policy here at CPHS is the
Downtown Theater are set to be,
One of their new ways is with the hashtag
We are all Brooke showed us that a passion or
And I have been binging like show after show, bro. You know how it is. Are you good? Are we good?
Are you okay?
Don't worry, she's perfectly fine. Viewers at home, it's all good. Like, there's no worries, no injuries were had here. No one was harmed in the making of the CPTV segment. I can guarantee it. Anyway,
The regular season, hang on, it's going too slow. What? Lena? It's overnight, and we are now at, darn it. Sorry, 34-yard touchdown by.
Normally around this time of year, the graduation. Normally around this time of year.
That's it for today's show and for the 2019-2020 school year. Thanks as always for taking the time to tune in and for being with us.
Remember, you can view all of our past episodes on crowntownmedia.org.
You can also follow us on Twitter at Crown T Media.
For Ramsey Harkness, Kirsten Robinson, and all of us here at CPTV, I'm Zach Jones.
And I'm Sarah Frey.
Have a safe and relaxing summer.